Everybody hear me okay? Alright, so real quick, I was really honored to be here. It's been really a lot of fun for the last many years to be part of the web field. I started coming probably, maybe 2003. I know it was around then, but I think it was intermittent members. It's been a real privilege to find out everything we have to find out here. So it's always been something I always really look forward to. There's never been a shortage of stuff, so I'm hoping that my presentation will at least be informative for some people here. So I've been working for the Department of State since 2002. That's our current homepage. I've been assisted by Cheryl Farley, who's also the artist designer, who came in about 2 years ago. I have to give a shout out to Awesome Eric, because the jQuery stuff that I've been learning in here and how much stuff I've been able to use it for the Department of State, and the accessible menus, and even doing different aspects of tab panels and all sorts of other stuff. So I really recommend everybody be really looking at this stuff, because the technology is really growing as far as how you can use it. And it's been a really big success for us at the Department of State. I brought this along today. I actually made the presentation to run on the iPad, but just like anything else, you kind of run a little bit past where technological limits will allow you. They'll actually show the presentation, but only through the application that had the presentation. So it's a little jerky that I'd be having it nice and smooth on a laptop, but on there, it's only when I'm using the presentation. So, as Jim was saying, these things are, tablets have only been around now for a year, and they weren't even around. They were around. They tried Newton when I was a young kid, but it didn't really take, and now it seems to really be going off really quite well. So I love some of these cards. You guys gotta use them. They're really fun. Usually have a good sense of jokes. Now, for those of you who don't have, and I'm sure there's something, is anybody going to see a show of hands? People who have who go to iTunes and get music or apps, or that's pretty good. That's pretty good market penetration right there. Anyway, well, you guys are probably familiar then. You can go to different parts of iTunes and see the current apps that are available, just like on Android and on the other stores. You can go and look. I just did a quick list of different government apps specifically, and although I gotta confess, I wasn't necessarily really looking to get the New York State Senate mobile app. I have it, and it really is quite amazing. I was really looking forward to trying to find out more about their process. It's been really fun checking it out. What I found is I went up to my security in doing this presentation. I went up to talk to my security officer at the Department of State, Internet Security, and find out where his take on mobile devices were. And it was quite unbelievable, really, because I learned a lot of things I didn't already know. And one of them was that most of the state is using global payment systems. I don't know if anybody have experience with working with that vendor? No? I don't see a couple shaking heads. But basically, one of the things I was really thinking about when I was doing this app was like, how great would it be that I could, Department of State does a lot of licensing, how great would it be if I was a barber and I wanted to renew my license? I could just grab the app, I could pay for it right on the phone, and I'd be all set to go. And my security officer told me that he'd be having to fill out a 228-page questionnaire every year because of involving financial transactions through a third-party vendor. In this case, it would be Apple, but it would be anybody. So it's a security. We're not really going to be talking much about it today, but I just wanted to bring up that it's definitely the concerns over personal privacy and financial data that still have to be worked out for some of these apps, for agencies to be working on apps. The other part of it is the accessibility issue is also a concern. After doing a little bit of programming with the Xcode, with using Apple's development tools, I can say that not like Dreamweaver or other code-based things, and basically they give you the ability that natively that all of your objects actually say what they are. So when you're running through the application, it actually says. Now, you can just imagine as a web developer, when I was told I could no longer use tables, and I have to use CSS. But the thing with the tables is, at least in the application, it's going to say, this is what row is, this is what it is. It's actually natively built into the app. So that's just something to consider about the accessibility issue. And then, why make an app when you can just make your site work better on a mobile browser? And that's actually what I think we're going to focus on at Department of State initially while we're still working out these kinks. Because a lot of the web browsers that are in the devices are HTML5 ready. They'll read it, RSS feeds, you can do a lot. All right, so I'm an Apple guy, and I'll admit that this Flash thing's got me bummed out a little bit. I would like it to work with everything, but I've also seen a lot of performance problems with Flash, and so I just hope that they, work it out. Probably one of the greatest things my security officer reminded me was how urgent is it for us to develop an app to file a government form? Aren't most people using these things for games? And I think that's a legitimate concern. I think that's a legitimate point. And we get the benefit of working in government and see how that battle leads out. But I personally, like I said, I was just thinking from my own app making that it would be really nice if we could take a form and fill it out, and it would handle the one aspect that I think has been our biggest problem as web is authentication. And we would know that that person paid for that app, that person gets the license for that profession. And so there's a definitely maybe that's a pathway for authentication is by using some mobile apps, but obviously there still have to be a lot of things worked out. And the last point I want to make, if I'm going to look at it from a project management perspective, that tablets weren't even around a year ago. So rapid technical obsolescence of applications for devices versus permanent website URLs that people over 35, I'm going to get to this in a second, regularly go to for information. And basically all I'm just really trying to say is that with these things changing so fast, every now and then I'm reminded when my mom brought home a Apple IIc when I was in 6th grade, and I made swear words shoot across the screen, and still get the same thrill being able to do it on my iPod. So anyway, I found a couple interesting things as far as also what Jim was talking about, which is consumers under 35 are using apps more than mobile browsers. And I found this, it's on a blog. I forget the exact place. These people can throw these stats anywhere, but me just entering over 35, I'm wondering, really? I'm kind of surprised by that, but you know what? If the table pretty much said it, that more people are using apps than they're going to be using the browser. So that's something to consider. So as I alluded to also, the mobile web browsers are going to be HTML5 ready. In this case, the iOS Safari browser supports a large amount of the CSS3 features that you could program into your website. And just a couple of font face and a couple other ones that aren't necessarily going to happen. I got these stats from the Site Catalyst net averages, which you get from Adobe CS5. So you guys, for people out there using CS5, you can get this stuff at least for free for another year, I think.